The DJI Action 4 or the Pocket 3. Today I want to break down the differences for you between these two cameras and which one you'd want to buy depending on what you're going to be using it for. Let's jump into it. Now to start off with, these are very different cameras aimed at very different markets. The Action 4 is very durable, waterproof, weatherproof, basically built for action sports and putting it in places where it's likely that it's going to get dropped, bumped, whacked, whatever else, like in harsh conditions, in water, outside of water, in rain, in snow, in ice. This action camera is built to be incredibly durable and stand up to all kinds of abuse. It's also smaller and more compact, and that's precisely why, is because you're gonna stick it on your head or on a chest mount or maybe on bike handlebars in places that, you know, you don't want it to take up a lot of space and you want it to really just be able to capture great imagery as you're doing whatever sort of extreme sport you're doing. The Pocket 3, on the other hand, is definitely aimed at the vlogging market and the creator market. People who wanna film things, create content, whether it's vlogs or create stuff for here on YouTube, social media, things like that. It's not as durable, it's not waterproof or weather sealed, although from what I've seen, it will handle a light amount of rain and mist. But this is really aimed at filming subjects because you get better stabilization in more situations. That's not to say that the Action 4 doesn't have great stabilization, it does. But this will give you better stabilization in more situations. And if you get the creator combo where you get the DJI Mic 2, then you also have super solid, great wireless audio with this. As soon as you add in something like the DJI Mic, DJI Mic 2, both come with the Pocket 2, then you have this great little wireless microphone system that you can get great audio no matter how far away from your camera you are. Which is another reason that it's aimed at creators who are creating content for social media, not necessarily just action sports. But the other reason I'd say that the Pocket 3 is aimed at creators who are creating content for YouTube, social media, vlogging, whatever, is because it has tracking features, and that enables you to set this up almost like another camera person and have it track you and film you through a scene, which gives you some really nice moving shots. While both of these cameras will film 4K up to 120 frames a second, they shoot great normal color profile, and they both shoot D-Log-M 10-bit 420, which gives you the option to color grade in post. Now I found that the normal colors look really good, honestly, and if you're not gonna color grade and match up to other cameras, then I wouldn't even worry about D-Log-M. But the way the cameras look differs significantly. The Action 4 is action sports oriented, so everything is in focus, where the Pocket 3 is more cinematic style or vlog style focused, where the background is going to be blurred out. And that's partly due to just a 1-inch sensor and lens design and physics. But it also does cause you to focus more on your subject if they're close to the camera. And if you put a subject really close to the camera, it focuses on it. So if you're somebody who's reviewing things, then putting it right next to the camera, right by the camera, will cause the camera to focus directly on it because the Pocket 3 has phase detect autofocus. Now on the image quality side, because the Action 4 is aimed at action sports, it has a very wide field of view, and that's done with intention, is that you want to capture as much of the scene as possible, where the Pocket 3 has a little bit narrower field of view. It comes in about 20 millimeters, but you can add a wide angle lens to get a wider field of view, and it will give you somewhat of a wider field of view. When it comes to stabilization, both of these cameras stabilize incredibly well. There are some differences when it comes to low light, but as you can see from these side-by-side clips here, that just walking around, talking, both of them stabilize really, really well. But another big difference is that the Pocket 3 has tracking features, which means you can put the camera down and have it track you around through a scene, which can be especially useful in certain situations. So both of these cameras shoot great video in bright light, but how do they do in low light? Here's where there is quite a difference. Because the Pocket 3 has a 1-inch sensor, where the Action 4 has a 1/1.3-inch sensor, but because of that larger sensor and larger pixels in the larger sensor of the Pocket 3, it gives you quite a bit better low light performance. So if you're filming in lower light a lot, then the Pocket 3 is gonna be a better choice for you. Here you can see the differences between the two. And also, because the Pocket 3 uses a mechanical gimbal for stabilization, it also gets more stable shots in lower light, where the Action 3 is reliant both on gyro data and on the image coming into the camera. It will give you some jitters and some weirdness in low light, and this was extremely low light. These tests were but you can see how the Pocket 3 does a better job stabilizing low light, and it gives you a cleaner image in low light because of the larger sensor and larger pixels in that sensor. And while I don't consider either one of these photo cameras, they both do take nice photos. The Action 4 will take 12 megapixel stills, give you some really nice imagery. Where the Pocket 3 is limited to about 9.5 megapixel stills or 9 megapixel stills. Also gives you nice imagery. There's enough detail in there to work. They both work for social media really well, but the Pocket 3 will also give you panorama photos and wide photos, or 3x3 photos, which is basically a 9 photo montage that gives you a larger size photo and takes, ultra wide photos essentially. And one more way in imagery that they differ is when you do hyperlapses or time lapses. The Action 4 will give you some great hyperlapses, time lapses, but the Pocket 3 will not only give you time lapses and hyperlapses, but it will also give you moving time lapses and hyperlapses where you can either use left to right or right to left or set different points in the time lapse. And a note on vertical video. If you shoot a lot of vertical video, the Pocket 3 will do so when you rotate the screen. It'll shoot up to 3K vertical video like this, whereas the Action 4, you have to rotate it horizontally to get vertical video, but it does give you a full 4K video. Now the Pocket 3, you can also film vertically by rotating it sideways like this, but then you don't get quite the same level of stabilization if you rotate it horizontally like this. However, you will get a full 4K image. And then we come to the user interface, which honestly, both of these cameras have very similar user interfaces. You swipe down to get into some of the deeper menu options. You can swipe there to change modes on the Action 3, which has lots of pretty good options there. You can tap there to adjust settings. You can swipe up to adjust all your frame rates and your resolutions. And you also have voice control on the Action 4. Now with the Pocket 3, it's very similar. Swipe down, you have a lot of quick options here, deeper menus. You tap there and you can go through. Here you can sort through the different gimbal modes that you want it to follow. If you tap or swipe from this side, you go into your deeper camera settings. Swipe from this side, goes into your footage that you've shot to preview. If you swipe up, same thing, you get a lot of different resolutions. The one difference here is that you can't get 4K 120 unless you go into slow motion mode. Tap there, you can cycle through all the different modes, including low light mode. Both of the touchscreens work really well. They're very responsive and are pretty much exactly what you'd expect. But again, because the Action 4 is aimed at action, it's very simple in its design and very simplistic in how it approaches. You have a couple of buttons, quick switch and the record button, and that's it. Everything else is done through the screen. Where the Pocket 3 has your record button, a joystick to be able to move the gimbal or zoom in and out, depending on how you want to do or what you want to do. And of course, it also has the rotating screen and a lot of other moving mechanical parts. So this is a more fragile camera because obviously it just has a lot more parts that could possibly break on it. Both of these have USB-C ports, and both of them will work with a lot of different microphones that are basically USB-C powered. So this lapel from Sennheiser, this is the D4 V mic from Deity with USB-C, it works. And of course, if you have the DJI mics version 1, if you use the receiver with the USB-C port, it will also work with both the Pocket 3 or with the Action 3 to give you wireless audio. But on the Pocket 3, if you get the Creator Combo, not only do you get the battery case, but you also get, or the battery handle, but you also get the DJI Mic 2, which features internal 32-bit recording. It will give you a huge amount of range to be able to walk away from this. And the nice thing is, there's nothing extra to plug into the unit. It just works wirelessly with the Pocket 3, and you don't even need the battery handle. It all is built in to work with the main part of the Pocket 3. Now with the Action 4, you get some really good runtime for a action camera. I've been seeing anywhere from an hour and 15 to like an hour and 30, depending on how I'm filming and what resolutions and frame rates I'm filming at. And this, the Pocket 3 gives you really great battery life as well. DJI says up to 160 minutes, but realistically, if you're filming in 4K or higher resolution, higher frame rates, then it's gonna be less. And if you're using active track and things like that. And then we come to price. Now, the Action 4 comes in at $399 for just the camera. If you get the Creator Combo, it's $499. where the Pocket 3 starts at $519, and if you get the Creator Combo, goes up to $669, which is a fair bit more expensive, but you're also getting some other options and some extras with that Creator Combo. But next, you're gonna wanna watch this video right here. I'll see you over there. As always, if you have questions, ask me in the comments below, or you can join my live stream, which happens most Wednesday nights at 4 p.m. Alaska time, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we can have more of a conversation and I can answer questions that maybe I didn't get to in this particular video. I'll see you again soon in the next video. Cheers.